Give me the next couple of minutes of your time and I will give you the exact strategy and behaviors, mindset that you're going to need to make sure that you never fall off it ever again. The most common thing I get is like, how do I stay motivated? How do I not fall off it all the time? You know, as soon as my motivation dips, I fall massively off track. So hopefully the following tips are going to help you with that. The first mistake is you're prioritizing motivation over momentum. And what I mean by that is that you're waiting for something to happen or some kind of burst of motivation to come through the door or whatever in order to get you started. Motivation comes from momentum. It comes from results, right? You can't just kind of rely on sitting and waiting for something to happen and just, you know, waking up one day and thinking, yeah, I'm gonna go and get after it. It doesn't really work like that. Take my client Isla, for example. We actually had a call a year before she started training with me, and it was one of those things where I could tell she wanted to make a change, but I think in her head she was still kind of waiting for something to have that click in her mind where she was like, yeah, like I'm super motivated, like I'm ready to do it, I'm ready to make the change. Obviously at the time, you know, it wasn't the right time for her and whatever, and we ended up having a call literally about a year later, and she kind of sat there and said, you know, nothing's changed, you know, it's been a whole year, and you know, I don't think she knew what she was kind of waiting for. She kind of discovered the fact that like she was waiting for something that was never actually going to arrive. She was like, you know, it's been a whole year, nothing's changed, I need to do something. 6 weeks in already, and she's already been dropping measurements off her waist. And, you know, the main thing that she said is that she wished she started sooner. That's her main driving factor now to keep going. Like, that's where her drive and her motivation is coming from, because she's seeing results and she's seeing those changes. And I'm not talking about like having dropped a dress size in like a matter of weeks or anything crazy like that. Like, everything has been super sustainable. And, you know, she's been progressing in all areas. You know, she's feeling fitter, she's feeling stronger, she's got more energy. It's like when you wake up and those day-to-day life tasks just start feeling that little bit easier. Getting up the stairs and like you're not out of breath anymore. Lifting your shopping out the car, it doesn't feel as heavy. Little things like that, when you start noticing them, that's where your motivation comes from, and you think, hang on a sec, like maybe this is actually working. And that way you're more inclined to be like, do you know what? I'm going to keep going with this now. Now, I know you're probably thinking, what am I supposed to do on the days where I literally do not care anymore? Like, you are dragging yourself, kicking and screaming. I have days like that as well. I totally know what it feels like. In prep for High Rocks, I had to run every Sunday morning, long run. I was running like 15 kilometers alongside like all the other training I was doing. And every Sunday morning I would wake up and be like, I don't want to do this. There's actually nothing I would want to do any less than wake up and run 15 kilometers right now in the pissing rain. And that is where having a strong enough why comes into play. If your reason for actually making a change isn't strong enough, then you're just never going to get anywhere, because you're just not going to care. I personally, in this situation, set myself the goal of competing in a High Rocks. You know, I signed up to it, I'd committed to it. It's something that I wanted to do. Previous year, I was supposed to do the Manchester Half, and I had to drop out because of an injury. And I really wanted to prove to myself that I could do hard things. I really wanted to have like the sense of achieving something. So I'm waking up on a Sunday morning and I'm wrecked. I've been working all week, 70-hour weeks, and I'm lying there thinking, not one part of me wants to do this at all. But the thing in the back of my mind is thinking, but you've got a race in X amount of weeks, in 4 weeks, 5 weeks, or whatever. I also had a partner that I was doing it with, so I kind of couldn't let her down either. But it does come back full circle to those things where it was like, no, like I want to prove to myself that I can do this. And like, it's the same when it comes to fat loss or whatever your goal might be. You know, take my client Liv, for example. I talk about her all the time. She's honestly like one of the best transformations I've ever witnessed. She came to me and she was like, I have tried everything. I physically don't know what else to do. And I think training with me was a bit of a last resort. Like, if this doesn't work, like, I genuinely don't know what I'm going to do anymore. But her why was so strong, and that is why she ended up doing so well and like losing so much weight and changing her lifestyle, and like her whole mindset just did a complete 180, because she sat on that call and said to me, I hate feeling like this. I don't want to feel like this anymore. Ironically, her initial goal wasn't actually to lose weight. She came to me and said, look, I love hiking. I want to be able to do this hike without being out of breath. I want to be able to get through it. I don't want to die when I'm doing it. I said, say no more. And 3 years later, you know, the rest is history. She did a complete transformation. But on the days where she didn't want to show up and she couldn't be asked, you know, it was one of those where I said, look, do you want to climb this mountain or not? You know, you told me that you wanted to do this. let's prove to yourself. And that's where your confidence comes from, you know, isn't it? Proving to yourself that you can do hard things and doing exactly what you say you're going to do. I said, look, you gave me this goal, we're going to get there. So yeah, you have to make sure that your why is strong enough. This also intertwines into my next point of creating discipline, but not in like such an extreme way. You see these people online all the time preaching about, you know, discipline is this, and like you've got to do this every day, and like X, Y, and Z, and like it's too much. Like if you create non-negotiables that are so extreme and so unrealistic, like again, you're just going to end up quitting. I've had clients before. My client Sophie, I hope she was not going to mind me baiting her out here if she's watching, but she was the epitome of coming up with new ideas every other week of, right, I'm going to do 10,000 steps a day every single day now. And I said to her, I was like, you work a 9-to-5 job, you've got X, Y, and Z commitments. I said, girl, 10,000 steps a day, it's not realistic for you. There's a reason that I've not set that for you. I said, I'm all for the motivation and I'm all for the discipline that you want to create for yourself, but is this really something long term that you're actually going to stick to? And she went, no, like I want to do it. It's okay, cool, fine. Let's do it. Let's see how it goes. I will always encourage, you know, people trying to do that little bit more, challenge themselves, whatever. 3 weeks in, she turns to me and says, can we get rid of the 10,000 steps a day goal? And I said to her, I was like, how come? Like, what's going on? And she goes, I can't lie. You were right. Like, I'm really struggling to hit this every single day. And the days that I'm not hitting it, I'm feeling like a failure. And it's, you know, it's just making me want to quit. So yeah, I can't lie. I did have a bit of an I told you so moment. But it just goes back to my point in saying, you know, there's no need to create all of these really extreme non-negotiables. Set realistic things that even if you really can't be arsed and your motivation is absolutely on its arse, you at the very least can tick those little things off, whether that be, you know, make a high protein breakfast or go to bed that little bit earlier so you're getting your 8 hours sleep in. One for me is always drink 2 to 3 litres of water per day, probably 3 litres. I'm on my feet quite a lot in my job anyway, so, you know, I'm sweating a lot. You get thirsty, so it's easier for me to, at the very least, drink 3 litres of water a day. And I know that if I've not managed to get anything else done or whatever, I've at least hit the very basics. Slightly going back to the point that I made earlier about having like a strong enough why, I think creating an actual vision can really help, like picturing the person that you actually want to become. This works really well in kind of all aspects of life anyways, I think. But you can even do this after this video. Writing down and really creating that vision, you know, vision boards and things that are all the rage nowadays. Physically picturing your future self and who you want them to be and what you want their behaviors to look like can be really helpful for keeping you on track. You just have to think like, I've created this vision of my future self. She's got X, Y, and Z qualities. And on the days where you feel like you're about to throw in the towel, you just have to think, well, would that version of me quit this easily? Or would that version of me give up like this? Would she be treating her body this way? Like I say, after this video, feel free, write it down, create a vision board, whatever you need to do. Keep it somewhere where you can look at it on a regular basis, you know, make it your lock screen, make it your laptop background, put it on your wall. And also, this sounds so obvious, but you have to remember, like, no one is motivated all year round. I'm a PT and online coach, like, fitness is my life. I absolutely adore exercise. I love eating well. I love moving my body. I hate sitting down all day and like not doing anything. I physically can't do it. I hate staying in bed all day. It's just like, no. Listen to what I've just said about when I was in high reps training. Like, I still have moments where I wake up and I just think anything else, literally anything else in this world I would rather do than this session. This was me like 3 weeks ago. I was meant to do a 10K in the morning. I woke up, lay in bed for 2.5 hours, which is not me at all. Like, I'm very much like a get up, get out of bed, go type of person. And I had to give myself a full-on talking to because I was not going to do that. I was so close to sacking it off. I literally can't even express. So even the people that you think are motivated all year round, who are posting on Instagram and, you know, they never have a day off and like they never fall off it and blah, blah, blah. And it's so easy to stay on track. Like, it's not at all. It's not real. Like, everyone is a human being. Everyone wakes up and has days where they just think, like, fuck this. But hopefully some of the tips that I've given you today are going to help you stay on track. You just cannot rely on being motivated. It just does not work that way. And if you're feeling inspired after this video, then make sure you go create your vision of who you want to be, what that version of you looks like in a year's time. I also have a free 5-day Kickstarter to Healthy Habits guide that I can send you. If you DM me the word habits on Instagram, I can send you that for free if you're wanting to get started on the right track. And yeah, thanks so much for watching, and hopefully I'll catch you in the next one.